From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Storm losses mount in storm-ravaged North Carolina.
So when you lose 40% of that, it's a big hit to the bottom line.
USDA releases its quarterly stocks numbers.
The numbers are negative for the market compared to pre-report trade expectations.
In agribusiness, where do prices go from here?
A little bit of a choppy, sideways, maybe softer trade in the week to 10 days to come.
Machinery Pete is pricing vintage pickup trucks. And take a trip with a heavenly host to an angelic collection in Wisconsin.
AgDay, brought to you by the Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. The damage caused by Hurricane Florence has topped $1 billion to agriculture, and that's just in one state. The North Carolina Department of Ag releasing new estimates of how much Hurricane Florence cost the state's agriculture sector. At this point, the total tops $1.1 billion in damage to crops and livestock in North Carolina. The state breaks it down like this. Row crop losses, $986 million. The state did not make estimates by individual commodities. Now, vegetable and horticulture crop losses are in at $27 million. Livestock, poultry, and aquaculture losses, they're estimated at $23 million. 5 of the top 6 farming counties in the state were within the hardest hit areas. While the state estimates are not broken down by crop, tobacco could be the North Carolina field crop taking the biggest hit. North Carolina remains the nation's largest tobacco producer with more than 330 million pounds in 2016. About 40% of it was still in the field when Florence arrived, and an industry group projected leaf losses could be $350 million.
We haven't been able to really make an attempt to harvest any before now anyway. And by the time we can, there will be, tobacco-wise, there won't be anything left by then. The way it's gone down in the last 2 days, there's just nothing left.
North Carolina's Sweet Potato Commission saying there are no industry estimates for sweet potato crop damage from Florence just yet. Forestry losses, well, they totaled $70 million. The estimates are based on the percentage of crops still in the field in the 35 counties hurt most by Florence. And 4 million poultry, 5,500 hogs were lost in the storm. Many of the nation's hogs are in the Carolinas. According to USDA's quarterly Hogs and Pigs report, the total inventory nationwide on September 1st was 75.5 million head. This was up 3% from a year ago. The breeding herd inventory, well, it's in at 6.33 million head, also up 3% from last year and up slightly from the previous quarter. And the market hog inventory number is in at 69.2 million head. That's up 3% from March of 2017 and up 4% from last quarter. On Friday, USDA also rolling out its quarterly stocks report. Soybeans turning heads with old crop beans stored in all positions on September 1 in at 438 million bushels. That's up 45% from last year. Soybeans stored on farm, well, it's 15% higher, while off-farm stocks, they climbed 58%. Old crop corn in all positions, it's in at 2.14 billion bushels. That's down 7% from last year. Of that number, 620 million bushels are currently stored on farm, 21% lower than a year ago. One of the changes made in this report, the official yields from 2017.
They didn't make any changes to planted acres or harvested acres, but they did revise last year's bean yield. Otherwise, we would have ended up with a huge negative residual use in the balance sheet, and they don't like to do that. We just added 130 million bushels of corn to total supplies. We just added 40 million bushels of soybeans to total supplies for the 2018-19 marketing year. For soybeans, 40 million bushels adding it, yeah, that's negative. Corn adding 130 million bushels, doggone it, that kind of can change some attitudes in here, and it makes it easier for us to get to a 2 billion bushel carry at the end of the 18-19 marketing year. So they're negative for the market. There's no question.
Now on the wheat side of the docket, all wheat stocks are up 5%, 2.38 billion bushels. On farm stocks, they were nearly 30% higher at 631 million bushels. The Farm Bill officially expiring over the weekend. Negotiators starting last week on funding for programs now without a budget baseline. As we reported last week, there are 39 programs left in limbo, including the Foreign Market Development Program, a program with vital importance given all of the recent trade turbulence. Committee Chair Pat Roberts saying they're making arrangements. He says the same thing happened back in 2012, adding that's not the way they like to have seen it, but they think that they know it will be fully funded. Washington watchers saying getting a bill finished isn't going to be easy.
I'm in the high 90% that you will see a new farm bill this calendar year. Little chance you could have it before the election, but the vast majority of odds are after November 6th elections. But here's a key. I would discount talk that this will be kicked into 2019.
Another deadline now in the rear view is publishing a full and completed three-nation NAFTA agreement. The White House preparing a revised North American free trade agreement with Mexico, hoping to get the deal finished before the newly elected Mexican president takes office. Now, the text does not include Canada. However, it is expected to allow Canada to join that agreement at a later date. But that does not mean it's a done deal. Congressional staff members cautioning that the administration would find little support on Capitol Hill for a deal that excludes Canada entirely. Meanwhile, negotiations are ongoing between the U.S. and Canada, but dairy remains a major sticking point.
Well, if you look at the history, Clinton, what happens here is that Canada, right to the last minute, will say we're going to protect supply management, and that always gives some sort of market access. We saw it in the CETA agreement. We saw it in the Trans-Pacific Partnership as well. So I would expect the same thing. But the question is, how big is the ask? How much market access is be requesting? And also, is the U.S. looking for a full-blown takeaway of Class 7?
Harvest is ramping up now that some of the recent rains are starting to dry out. David Harker with AgDay Weather Team has more in today's crop comments.
Good morning, Clinton. We'll start crop comments in Jackson County, Iowa. Now, this picture of harvest was posted to agweb.com. The farmer says in extreme east central Iowa, rains have slowed harvest, but not as much as expected. Now, they say roughly 75% of soybeans are ready. Corn is in the mid-20s moisture-wise, and so far yields appear to be good. Another farmer in Floyd County, Iowa, says it's been a muddy mess so far this harvest season. They saw 18 or more inches of rain just last month. Soybean yields appear to be mostly in the 50 to 60 bushel range, while corn is rolling in at about 200 bushels to the acre. Let's go ahead and talk about the drought. A lot of areas out west still need to see some rain showers, and we're likely going to get there in the next week to 10 days. A little bit of relief is a good thing for areas that have not seen much already this season. Be sure to stick around for the rest of the forecast. Now, here are some hometown temps.
Plan for the unexpected with weather forecast updates. Local forecasts are delivered right to your cell phone each morning, making planning a little bit easier. Just text Weather 6 to 31313 to get started.
Up next, we'll get you ready for the trading week ahead and digest last week's flurry of news and numbers, plus Machinery Pete.
You like vintage pickups, folks? Hey, then stay tuned. I've got some real eye candy for you.
And take a trip to an angelic museum in Wisconsin for one last tour.
AgDay, brought to you by the Enlist Weed Control System. More weed control, less drift and volatility, maximum yield potential.
Welcome back to AgDay. Taking a look at how we're going to start this week, fellas. We've got Andy Schisler, Mike North. Thank you both for being here. All right, let's talk about the grain stocks report. What was your takeaway? Did anything stand out to you?
You know, it was as expected, I would say. From a corn standpoint, our stocks were down. And looking at the cash market going into this fall, in Cedar Rapids, our basis is probably about 10 cents better than it was a year ago.
Okay.
So that's a good barometer. So the market felt a little cleaner to me. So I definitely could tell we were down in stocks, but there was still a fair amount left out there in the corn market. Beans, I wasn't sure what was going to happen here, but I knew the stocks would be higher because we've had no bid on the P&W for going on 3-4 months.
Right.
And that's a problem if you want to clean up the country, which we usually clean up and we'll trade plus 25 to plus 50 in Cedar Rapids, and we stayed at 70 under. So the rail bid was all coming in. It's the opposite of what usually happens. So it was a sloppy stocks number, and I think that was to be expected.
Mike, as we get through and start a fresh week, where does this take you? Where does what we learned last week on trade, on prices, on stocks, where does that take us?
Well, everybody went neutral midweek last week and ultimately was waiting for that stocks number to give them some new direction. Technically, we moved out of a downward trend channel in corn that started to look promising. The lower trade Friday pulls us right back into the channel without any new news, which is essentially the void we'll be caught in until the October WASDE comes out. I look for that to be about range bound and caught inside that channel. So probably a little bit of a lower bias for the next week or two. The soybean market now is back below that 850 line, which has been a tough one to take out. We've seen some resistance there that I think is going to hold. Bean yields continue to come in strong. So there again, I look for a little softer market on beans. And with the wheat numbers coming out where they were and plenty of moisture out there and what will likely be a really strong planting pace, probably a softer tone to wheat, but let's not lose sight of the fact that we're really close to those old lows, and there should be some chart support not far out in front of us. So a little bit of a choppy, sideways, maybe softer trade in the week to 10 days to come.
All right, gentlemen, thank you both for being here, getting us started this week. So much happening. It's hard to put it all into a bucket. Appreciate it. We'll be back with more Ag Day in just a minute.
For one-on-one marketing advice, call Andy Schisler with S&W Trading at 312-506-3888.
Cut through the uncertainty in the markets. Give Mike a call at 608-764-0012.
Here's a look at the outlook, especially in the upper atmosphere when we start talking the jet stream. We're going to see a more active weather pattern as we look to the northern portion of the states. And this is going to be in the next week where most of the heavier rain showers will be. And you're going to notice that especially as we look toward Wednesday, Thursday, and possibly into the latter part of the work week. You notice this big dip in the jet stream, meaning more precipitation and eventually some cooler temperatures. That's off of the highs that we've seen in the 70s in our latest model runs for areas in the Great Lakes. Otherwise, some relief precipitation-wise will come to the Four Corners region in the deep south, whether it be in the next week or even in the next 30 days. So let's get right into our forecast. Temperatures this week above normal, whether it be the northeast, down the eastern seaboard into the mid-Atlantic states, stretching down into the deep south, most of Texas, as well as Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas, likely to deal with the above normal temperatures. We look out to the northern plains states, as well as the northern Rocky Mountains, and even out into the northwest, where below normal temperatures will reside. It's that very slim line that you'll notice from the upper peninsula of Michigan, stretching down through the heart of the Central Plains, the Four Corners region, down into southern Arizona, where we see more of the at normal type temperatures. Precipitation wise, notice this big swath of dark green. Now this encompasses a good portion of the United States. However, the most rain will likely occur in the Great Lakes region as well as the southern plains states. That's where we're talking at least 50 to 60% above normal when we talk chances for precipitation. It is below normal in the Pacific coastal regions and normal as we look to the eastern seaboard, the mid-Atlantic states right there along the Atlantic Ocean, where they still need it, especially after the flooding and the help finally continues from what was Hurricane Florence only weeks ago. Now we take a look 30 days out, and this is where it does become a little bit more active when we talk above normal temperature-wise. Out west, especially west of the Rocky Mountains, you'll notice the above normal temperatures, that big area of dark orange on the screen. In the heart of the United States, below normal. Now normal on the northern side as well as down in South Texas, and above normal when we start talking the mid-coastal regions as well. We talk precipitation, and those same locations that even over the next week we'll see heavy rain, we're likely to be above normal in those aspects as well, whether it be the northeast stretching all the way down into Mississippi as well as Alabama, and all the way out to the Four Corners region, below normal when we're up into the northwest. Again, this is 1 month out when we start talking these type of conditions. Normal in the Central Plains and the Great Lakes. Let's take a look at some local forecast. Montrose, Colorado, we're talking 74 degrees with possible rain showers in the afternoon. As we get into Spring Green, Wisconsin, showers and thunderstorms likely with 67, and Ridgeland, South Carolina, possible showers with a high of 85.
If you like classic cars, you'll like Machinery Pete's picture of vintage pickup trucks. That's coming up next. And later, flying to this Angel Museum in Wisconsin, the owner says they're shutting the pearly gates, but not before one quick peek inside. Machinery Pete's riding in style this week as he looks at recent vintage pickup prices. Here's Greg.
Okay folks, today we're going to talk vintage pickups. Now back on September 18th, my friends at Sullivan Auctioneers had an amazing estate auction out in Garden City, Kansas, where this 1959 Chevy Apache 3100 pickup sold. 30,000 original miles on it, and it went for $27,000. Now I posted a YouTube video of this thing selling on our machinerypete.com website, and you should check it out. It was amazing. The bidding was going along at $250 increments, up around $15,000, $16,000, and then it just took off. Again, wound up going for $27K. Now what I find interesting on these vintage pickups, just like vintage tractors, is the original factor versus restored. Now here's a picture of a fully restored Chevy 3100 Apache, and this thing was a 46 model, sold for $45,000 last November on a collector auction out in Greensboro, North Carolina. Beautiful inside and out. But if we go back to the original factor, you will never find a more amazing auction than back on September 28th, 2013 in Little Pierce, Nebraska. This was the famous Lambrecht Chevrolet dealer auction. Now this was a dealer that kind of for whatever reason over the years, just a lot of times kept new product, didn't sell it. And he had two 3100 Apaches that were amazing. Here's a picture of the 60 model with 2 miles on it. Brought $46,000, but the king of the hill was this 1958 model, 5 miles on it, brought $80,000.
Up next, we'll take you to an otherworldly visit in Beloit, Wisconsin, in the angelic shelves of this Angel Museum.
Is now the best time to sell your old equipment? Pete's Pick of the Week keeps you up to date on current market prices, making it easy for you to know when to sell your equipment for the best possible price. Text Pete6 to 31313 to get started.
In the Country, sponsored by Kubota. Discover the power behind the M6 series at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
There's a museum in Wisconsin that holds the record for the world's largest collection of angels. The Beloit attraction is now closing its pearly gates after 2 decades of service. Step beyond the door.
I'm Joyce Berg, also known as the Angel Lady.
And into an otherworldly attraction.
I have to say that the Angel Museum is a heavenly place because we have so many angels.
Berg helped start the Angel Museum 20 years ago with a personal collection.
There are approximately, I would say, 10,000 plus angels here.
A passionate host offering a smile and a tour.
Hello. Hello. Welcome to the Angel Museum. Where are you folks from?
Well, I thought that was real nice when we opened the door. So we got a real live one here.
Berg and her late husband started collecting in 1976 and now holds the record for 13,165 angels.
Actually, in the Guinness book, it says she has X number of angels, even an angel smoke alarm.
Angels of all shapes.
And then our gypsy angels down here. Liquor decanters.
Sizes.
You have to really come in there and see the tiniest angel.
Oh, there it is.
And backgrounds.
The 4 cases as you walk around here are the ones that Oprah Winfrey has donated.
She estimates that 200,000 people have made it through the former church in Beloit.
I feel a warmth, like maybe the wings or the arms are wrapping you as you come in, and it's just very peaceful.
But even a peaceful purpose can't always keep the lights on.
Our problem is insufficient funds, membership, sponsors, volunteers.
The 87-year-old Berg plans to keep some angels, but has hired an auction company to sell the rest. She's hoping the family she's collected can continue as a single heavenly host.
It's just bittersweet for me, of course, because this is my angel family, and always, you know, I place these here with love and hope that they could stay a long time. At least if they could stay together, that would be wonderful, but we don't know what's going to really happen yet.
So what's next for this earthly traveler?
What am I going to do? I'm going to spend more time with my family. I hope to read a little bit more. I've got gobs of angel books that I've never read.
And one big book to guide her way. Well, if the museum looks intriguing, you just missed it. The last day was Saturday. We wish Joyce luck on the future. And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. It's been part of your day with us. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.